Have you ever caught yourself doing something foolish and thought, why did I do that? We all have moments of self-defeating behavior that the Stoics might even call stupidity. Now, stupidity to the Stoics didn't mean a lack of IQ. It meant behaving against our own reason and best interest, doing things that ultimately harm us. In the calm, reflective style of Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, let's explore 6 signs of such behavior that the Stoics warned us about. Each sign comes with a real-life example and a lesson from Stoic philosophy. By recognizing these traits in ourselves, we can begin to overcome them and live more wisely. As Marcus Aurelius might remind us, life is too short to persist in ignorance of what causes us grief. Before we dive in, remember the Stoics believed that wisdom is the antidote to foolishness. As Epictetus often taught, people do wrong out of ignorance, not because they are inherently bad. The good news is that ignorance can be cured with awareness and practice. So let's become more aware. Here are 6 signs of self-defeating behavior, according to Stoic wisdom. 1. Unnecessary anger. Picture a man stuck in traffic. Another driver cuts him off, and he explodes in rage. He's honking, shouting, maybe even pounding the steering wheel. What has he accomplished? The traffic isn't moving any faster. His day is now ruined by stress, and he might even carry that anger home, snapping at his family. Have you ever felt the flush of anger over something trivial and later realized it hurt you more than anyone else? The Stoics would gently nod. This is exactly the kind of unnecessary anger they cautioned against. The Stoic philosophers viewed anger as one of the most self-destructive emotions. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, wrote, "How much more grievous are the consequences of anger than the causes of it?" In other words, the fallout from our fury, the stress, the damaged relationships, the poor decisions, is often far worse than whatever triggered us in the first place. Seneca went so far as to call anger a brief madness, noting how it makes us lose self-control and ignore reason. Think about it. An angry person can look practically insane, red face, wild eyes, shouting nonsense. Not a picture of wisdom or strength at all. The Stoics observed that anger rarely fixes anything. Instead, it fixes us in a state of turmoil. They taught that a wise person practices patience and restraint. The next time something sparks your temper, pause and ask, will this anger serve me, or am I just inflicting harm on myself? Perhaps count to 10, take a deep breath, or as Epictetus would advise, remember that the true target of your anger is you. You might find the flames cooling. In Stoic practice, real strength is quiet calm, not screaming wrath. Freeing ourselves from unnecessary anger is the first step to freeing ourselves from foolishness. 2. Talking nonsense, excessive idle chatter. Imagine sitting in a meeting where one colleague dominates the discussion, spewing opinions on things he clearly doesn't understand. He interrupts others, eager to sound important, but his points are off base and the conversation derails. Everyone leaves frustrated and he's oblivious, thinking he impressed the room. We've all encountered or been someone who talks a lot but says very little. Do we speak just to fill the silence or to truly contribute? The Stoics would call thoughtless, excessive talk a subtle form of foolishness, a way we can defeat ourselves with our own tongue. Stoic philosophy prizes wisdom in speech, and often that means knowing when to stay quiet. The Stoic sage Zeno famously said we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we may listen twice as much as we speak. Likewise, Epictetus is credited with the advice, "Nature hath given men 1 tongue but 2 ears, that we may hear from others twice as much as we speak." In plainer terms, a fool talks all the time, a wise person listens. When we babble on about things we don't know, we close ourselves off from learning. As Epictetus puts it, if you're talking all the time, how will you learn anything new? The Stoics observe that idle chatter is often driven by ego or insecurity. We want to appear knowledgeable or feel noticed, but paradoxically, the more we prattle, the more our ignorance shows. Seneca advised speaking only when it improves on silence. Instead of gossiping or rambling, the Stoic approach is to speak with purpose or not at all. Try this. Next time you're in a conversation, catch yourself before interrupting or going on a tangent. Ask internally, is what I'm about to say useful, true, or kind? If not, perhaps let it pass. In the silence, you might actually gain insight. Remember, words are powerful, use them wisely, or as the Stoics warn, you risk looking and feeling foolish. 3. Wasteful spending, extravagance without purpose. Consider a young woman who just received her paycheck. Instead of saving or paying her bills, she goes on a shopping spree for expensive clothes and gadgets she doesn't need. She's chasing a thrill or trying to impress others at a party that night. For a moment surrounded by bags of new purchases, she feels a high, but a week later, the credit card bill arrives and anxiety hits. The shiny new things didn't bring lasting happiness, and now she's financially hurting. How often do we buy things impulsively, only to regret it later? The Stoics saw wasteful spending, indulging every desire, as a sign of inner weakness and folly. Stoicism teaches self-control and understanding what truly matters. Epictetus gives us a simple measure of wealth. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. To the Stoics, being rich isn't about spending lots of money, it's about needing less. A person who can't control their impulses with money is, in a sense, a slave to those impulses. And slavery to desire leads to anxiety and regret, not freedom. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men of his time, pointed out that fortune is best used when it's directed wisely, not squandered. He criticized mindless luxury and advised living below one's means as a path to peace. What's the point of a gilded palace if you're consumed by fear of debt or loss? Let's apply Stoic wisdom to our daily spending. Before pulling out your wallet for that next impulse buy, pause and reflect. Ask yourself, is this purchase driven by a true need or just a passing urge? Will this item help me live a better life, or is it merely a shiny distraction? Often we find we're trying to fill an emotional void with material things, a void only wisdom and contentment can fill. The Stoics remind us that every unnecessary purchase costs us twice. It empties our wallet and weighs on our spirit. True wealth is having what you actually need and cherish, and being free from the rest. Mastering this mindset helps us avoid the self-defeating trap of wasteful extravagance. 4. Revealing secrets, indiscretion, and loose lips. Imagine a scenario. A friend confides in you about a personal struggle, something deeply private. You promise to keep it secret, but later in casual conversation, you let a detail slip, perhaps to show you're in the know or just because you weren't thinking. The next day, your friend is devastated to hear their secrets out. Your relationship suffers a blow of broken trust. Why did you spill what wasn't yours to share? Revealing secrets carelessly is a classic self-defeating mistake. The Stoics observe that indiscretion, failing to guard confidences or our own private matters, often leads to regret and damage that can't be easily undone. Seneca, a master observer of human behavior, had clear advice on this. If you wish another to keep your secret, first keep it to yourself. In other words, the moment you share a secret, you lose control over it. Trust is a precious bond, and breaking it, even through thoughtless gossip, is a mark of foolishness. The Stoics held integrity and loyalty as high virtues. To betray a trust, even accidentally, reveals a lapse in those virtues. It's like letting spill a cup of water. Once out, you can't put it back in. And often the act of revealing someone's secret harms the speaker too. People learn you can't be relied on, and suddenly you find yourself isolated, not privy to important conversations because you've proven to be loose-tongued. The Stoic way is to speak less and mind what you say. Seneca even suggested one should live in such a way that nothing needs hiding, but also that we shouldn't unload our worries on every passerby. In letters to Lucilius, he noted that some people tell anyone who will listen their troubles, while others trust no one at all, and we should do neither. The middle ground is confiding only in those who've earned our trust, and even then, being mindful. Before you share something sensitive, yours or someone else's, pause and think, why am I about to say this? Would a wise person approve of me revealing this? If there's any doubt, it's better to stay silent or speak about it only to the right person in the right setting. The Stoics knew the power of discretion. In practicing it, we uphold our honor and avoid sabotaging our relationships through careless speech. 5. Trusting everyone naively. Consider a young man who, upon meeting new people, immediately opens up his life story and lends money or favors freely to anyone who asks. He believes every sob story and assumes everyone has good intentions, like he does. Before long, he's been cheated by a scammer, gossiped about by a faux friend who spread his personal stories, and disappointed countless times. His kindness is admirable, but his lack of discernment causes him pain. Is it virtuous to trust everyone, or is it a form of folly? The Stoics recognize that naively trusting everyone is indeed a self-defeating behavior. While cynically trusting no one is unhealthy, the opposite extreme, opening your heart to all without caution, is, as Seneca says, the more ingenuous, naive fault. Seneca gives balanced wisdom on this. When friendship is settled, you must trust. Before friendship is formed, you must pass judgment. What does this mean? Trust is sacred, but it should be earned. The Stoics advise us to observe and test a person's character before we label them a true friend and hand them the keys to our confidence. To pass judgment here isn't about being judgmental in a harsh sense. It means use your reason and insight to evaluate. Is this person virtuous? Are they reliable? Only after someone has proven to be trustworthy should you trust them as completely as you trust yourself. Those who put the cart before the horse, trusting first and judging later, will inevitably suffer betrayal. It's a painful but predictable outcome of undiscerning goodwill. Now, Stoicism doesn't endorse paranoia. Marcus Aurelius himself worked daily with people he described as selfish, treacherous, or cruel, yet he didn't hate them. He accepted that such people exist and resolved not to be harmed or made bitter by them. Epictetus similarly advised being cautious but kind. Don't assume everyone is an enemy, but don't hand a stranger your purse and heart on day one either. To put it plainly, not everyone you meet has your best interests at heart. It's wise to show kindness and respect to all, but intimate trust belongs to the worthy few. If you find yourself repeatedly burned by others, it may be a sign to slow down and heed Seneca's counsel. Trust, but verify. By being selective and patient in forming friendships, you actually protect your generous spirit from being exploited, allowing it to shine where it truly should. In Stoic terms, this balance is what prudence looks like in relationships. 6. Failing to discern friends from enemies. This final sign ties closely to the previous. It's the inability or unwillingness to tell who is truly on your side and who isn't. Imagine a leader at work who pushes away a longtime colleague offering honest feedback, perceiving it as criticism, but embraces a new advisor who constantly flatters him. Over time, the flattery blinds him to real problems. He trusts the sycophant who later betrays him, and he's lost a true friend who would have kept him grounded. How often do we mistake flattery for friendship and honest criticism for hostility? The Stoics were keen observers of this human blindness. Not knowing friend from foe was, to them, a dangerous stupidity that leaves one defenseless in life's most important battles. Seneca delivers a powerful warning on this in one of his letters. He exclaims how flattery can mimic friendship to such a degree that it can fool us completely. How closely flattery resembles friendship? An enemy comes to me full of compliments in the guise of a friend. In other words, the sweet words of a flatterer can be the mask an enemy wears. A foolish person might surround themselves with those who tell them only what they want to hear, while shunning those who tell them what they need to hear. Stoic philosophers saw this as a tragic error. Marcus Aurelius valued those who would correct him and help him grow, not yes men. Epictetus, too, advised seeking companions who uplift and improve you, famously saying, "Keep company only with people who uplift you, whose presence calls forth your best." A true friend, from a Stoic viewpoint, is someone who cares for your soul. They will support you, but also call you out when you stray from the path of virtue. An enemy, conversely, might be someone who encourages your worst tendencies, whether they intend to or not. The lesson: we must cultivate clear-sighted judgment about people. Ask yourself, are the people I consider friends actually good for me? Do they guide me toward my better self or just butter me up? And likewise, is someone I see as an enemy truly against me? Or are they perhaps a friend in disguise, offering me truths I don't want to hear? Stoicism teaches us to prize truth over pleasing delusions. It might sting to hear criticism, but as Seneca wrote, true friendship will admonish, whereas flattery is a false friend. A wise person would rather be slapped with the truth by a friend than kissed with deceit by an enemy. By knowing the difference, we protect ourselves from manipulation and foster genuine relationships. In avoiding this pitfall, we steer clear of one of the costliest forms of self-sabotage. We've journeyed through 6 signs of self-defeating behavior that the Stoics warned us about: unnecessary anger, idle talk, wasteful extravagance, indiscretion with secrets, blind trust, and failing to discern friends from foes. If some of these hit close to home, don't worry, you're in good company. Even Marcus Aurelius admitted to his own shortcomings in his private journal. The goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to become more aware and gradually more wise. Each of these signs is like a mirror. If you recognize the reflection, you have an opportunity to change course. Remember, as Stoicism teaches, we can't control the past, but we can direct our present and future choices. Take a moment to reflect. Which of these behaviors do you struggle with most? What is one Stoic-inspired step you can take today to counter it? Perhaps it's counting to 5 when anger hits, or practicing active listening, or maybe holding back that piece of gossip. Small daily actions, guided by ancient wisdom, lead to profound improvements over time. As Seneca wrote, life is long if we know how to use it, and using it poorly, through these foolish behaviors, is what truly shortens our meaningful time. Thank you for watching and spending your time in pursuit of wisdom. If you found value in this Stoic exploration, please subscribe to the channel for more content that helps us all live better, more intentional lives. Did any of these 6 signs surprise you? Leave a comment with your thoughts or experiences. We'd love to hear your perspective and continue the conversation. And if you know someone who might benefit from a little Stoic insight, share this video with them. Lastly, don't forget to check out our next video, linked on screen. In it, we delve into another powerful Stoic lesson that can transform your outlook. Until next time, stay wise, stay strong, and remember Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one." See you in the next video.